Question 12. Line segment NY has endpoints -11, 5, and 5, -7. What is the equation of the perpendicular bisector of line segment NY? So first thing you should remember is that if I have a line with some slope, let's call it yx because I talk about my change in y over my change in x as slope, a perpendicular line to that will be the negative reciprocal. So if I'm perpendicular, I'm the negative reciprocal. Reciprocal means I swap the top and the bottom. It's just a fancy word for saying flip the top and the bottom. And negative means I change signs. So this would be perpendicular. For example, if my slope was 3/7, then perpendicular to that would be -7/3. I flop the top and the bottom, change the sign. So first thing I need to do here is find the slope for my line segment NY. To help out with that, maybe I'll draw a little sketch here. I'll say that n is all the way over here at -11, 5, -11, 5, and then that y is down over here at 5, -7. Y is at 5, -7. So for the slope, I need to find my change in y over the change in x. Maybe a lot of times we call this rise over run. Some people will call it that. Well, here I'll find the rise. I started out at -7. I had to go up 7 here, up 5 here. So this is going to be +12. My run now, I'm starting from the same point. I had to go -5 in this direction, -11 more over here, so 5 and 11, it's going to be 16, but it was all to the left, it's going to be -16. So my slope is 12 over -16, which is the same thing as just -12 over 16. You can also see that it's a negative slope because it's going down from left to right. Well, this simplifies if I divide the top and bottom by 4. This will simplify to -3/4. So here's my slope. The perpendicular to that will be the negative reciprocal. So if this is negative, a negative will be positive. Reciprocal, I'm going to flip the top and the bottom, 4/3. Well, so let's see if I can get it down here. I see 2 of my answers over here have 4/3, so I'm split between these two answers, answer 1 and answer 3. What I want to do though is I want to get these two equations into slope-intercept form, and that's going to help me kind of figure this out a little bit more. So let's do that. Why is this looking all funky? It's like double over here. Ooh. So to get this into slope-intercept form, I'll just do some algebra on my geometry exam. Let's pull out a little bit so I can write a little larger. So for answer 1, I have y plus 1 is equal to 4/3 x plus 3. If you want to skip the algebra part, feel free to. I'm going to go through it slowly in case people need a little bit of help practicing their algebra. So here I will distribute that 4/3. I'm going to rewrite everything. Y plus 1 is equal to 4/3 x plus 4 times 3/3. All I'm changing here is that 3 divided by 3 is 1, 4 times 1 is 4, so that's why those will cancel out. I'm left with y plus 1 is equal to 4/3 x plus 4. Take away the 1 from both sides to get the y all by itself. And I am left with y equals 4/3 x plus 3. Now the reason I like this form, this is slope-intercept form, which follows the general pattern of y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of my line and b is my y-intercept, where it intersects or intercepts the y-axis. And this tells me right away, well, I can plot a point where it hits the axis, positive or negative on the y-axis, and then this will tell me how the line goes just by looking at this one equation, or in particular this one equation, I can see exactly how to put this on a graph. So we'll do that in a moment, but let's check number 3 out. Let's do the algebra for that one. So number 3 is y minus 6 equals 4/3 x minus 8. All right, so let's start doing the algebra. I will distribute the 4/3 to both of those. I'm left with y minus 6 equals 4/3 x minus 4 times 8 over 3. This 4 times 8 gets me 16, 32, and so then I'm going to do 32 over 3. It's a little above, or a little below 11. Let's check that one out. 32 over 3, 10.6 repeating. So I know that this whole thing is going to come out to be 10.6 repeating. You could have alternatively just plugged that whole thing into your calculator. 4 times 8 over 3, 10.6. I don't know. I like to do stuff on paper sometimes, a little bit. So 10.6 repeating. I'm going to write this all down then as y minus 6 equals 4/3 x minus 10.6 repeating. I still want to get the y all by itself, so I'll add 6 to both sides. That cancels there. I'm left with y equals 4/3 plus x. By the way, I say that a lot. I say that too fast. I don't like when I say that cancels there. This really says, well, I have negative 6 plus 6. Negative 6 plus 6 gets me 0. So then y minus 0 is just y, which is why it cancels out. All right, and negative 10 plus 6 is, I want to confirm this, negative 10.6 repeating plus 6 is, yep, negative 4.6 repeating. And so now I have these two equations for these two numbers. I've got, let's move this stuff out of the way. For answer 3, I have the slope-intercept form y equals 4/3 x plus 3 and y equals 4/3 x minus 4.6 repeating. I know that both of these are going to be perpendicular. Both of these are going to be, I'm trying to find a good spot I can scroll up on this and then come scroll one more down, then bring it down this way. Ah, look at that. So I know that both of these are perpendicular because we've already said that the slopes are the negative reciprocal of the slope we originally came up with, which was, we talked about up here. So it's got to be 1 or 3. And now I need to see, all right, well, it's the bisector of line segment NY, which means that it hits it exactly in the midpoint. They should intersect at the midpoint. You could use the midpoint formula for this, but I like to, use a drawing, see if I can not memorize another formula. I mean, if you memorize it, go for it. But they don't give it to you on the reference sheet, and if you don't remember it, then drawing's all that you have to go off of. So here on another slide, to save you some time, and this is about as neat as I could reasonably get it. Uh-oh. Did it get messed up? Let's see. Kinda did. Let's see if I can salvage this. Uh-huh. Well, this is kind of a gross situation. Anyways, it's a little bit off. I tried drawing it outside of the video so that you wouldn't need to spend as much time watching me mess this up, and now it's all kind of broken. But more or less you can see here was N, here was Y, and here are the two lines that I just came up with. Well, the black one shows answer number 3, which was the minus 4.6 repeating. That's where it hits the y-intercept right here, and then the slope tells me to go up this way. And here's where it hits plus 3. It looks like my blue line where the y-intercept is plus 3. That looks way more like it's in the midpoint. And this is drawn to scale. I drew it on a grid, so you can trust what things look like in this, more or less. So I'm going to go with my answer as this right here, or in other words, back over here, my correct answer for this is number 1.